Hi, everybody. We're live now. Welcome to Sunday night. I'm so glad you guys are here. Tonight, we're going to talk about fat adaptation. I do just want to first mention that we have a couple of moderators in the room. In the live chat, you'll find Bonnie and Melissa. She's in there as Copper's Carnivore Kitchen. They will answer questions and give links if necessary, things like that. So say hello to them. And yeah, we're going to talk about fat adaptation. But first of all, I just want to say that for those of you who have never been here before or have not met me or don't know who I am, my name is Anita, and I've been low carb, keto, and now carnivore for a number of years. I've lost 145 pounds. Currently doing Lion Diet for the month of October. So today is my 13th day. No coffee, no dairy, no cheese, none of the other carnivore thing, no pork, chicken, just beef, water, and salt. And it's going extremely well. So let's, if you have questions about that, you can feel free to ask because, there's going to be lots of time for questions tonight. So if anybody does, want to ask along those lines, but I just want to give you some information about fat adaptation because I do get those questions, how long does it take? How do you know? How, can you mess it up and lose your fat adaptation, things like that. So hopefully we'll touch on all those things as I go through this. So what is fat adaptation? What is it? It is the long term, and really think about, keep that phrase in mind, long term. It's the long term metabolic adjustment that happens in your body from being in ketosis or using ketones over a period of time. It's different than being in ketosis. The two of them go hand in hand. It's the metabolic state your body is in once you've been in ketosis long enough that your body has efficiently transitioned from burning carbs and sugar to burning fats from your food and from your body. So it is a good thing. We want to be fat adapted. The big question is, how long does it take and how does it happen? So, what typically happens, and what I'm going to say applies to whether you're, keto or carnivore. It doesn't, you're somewhere on that scale where you've restricted carbs. The carb restriction is the main driver of this. So it can take anywhere from some people say you can be as soon as 2 to 3 weeks, but it can also be many months. And even then, there are people who have been around trying to do this for even a couple of years that feel like maybe they're not fat adapted. And so that's possible too, and we'll go into a couple of reasons why that happens. But anywhere from a few weeks to a few months would be considered normal. And it really it depends on the person too. Some people are metabolically healthy and they've decided to go keto or carnivore. They get into ketosis right away, and a couple weeks later, they're seeing those signs of being fat adapted. On the other hand, you've got a person like myself, someone who's, maybe they're premenopausal or postmenopausal. They've had a lifetime of obesity, being on, different diets up and down. They're, lost weight, gained it back, lost weight, gained it, that kind of thing. A lifetime of sugar and carbs. That person is going to take longer, especially if they've got insulin resistance. It is definitely going to take longer to get fat adapted. So it depends, on how strict you are with your restriction of carbs. Like restriction of carbs is the key, and your individuality, which is what I just mentioned. The underlying health issues that you might have, and so on. So how do you know if you're fat adapted? Well, I'm gonna just actually I'll bring you. I have a thing here. Let's see. There we go. So here's some of the benefits. You will stay satiated for longer when you're fat adapted. You have less cravings. Your blood sugars are balanced. You have energy. The benefits are that it helps to reduce some of these underlying issues that you might have, being overweight, having diabetes, having different types of things going on, cognitive issues. It's huge for cognitive issues for sure. Now, this image comes from a link that is in our handout for tonight. So I do want to mention the handout. Oh, what happened there? Oops. So yeah, it comes from Keto Mojo's website. So Keto Mojo is they make the dual monitor where you can test your ketones and your blood glucose. While I've been on Lion Diet, I've been testing mine every morning because I'm going to give kind of a full report at the end of the 30 days and show you guys, what happened to those markers as I went online. So the handouts are on the website. They're also in the video notes. And we had some trouble with the website today. There seems to be a caching issue, but I did put the direct link in the video notes. It's to a Google Doc, so you can hopefully get that. It's full of resources like videos that you can watch and book recommendations and article recommendations, things like that. So, but how does it actually happen? It starts first with reduction of carbs. So when you first go keto, like when you're on SAD, standard American diet, you're burning glucose, you're burning sugars, you're not burning ketones at all. You're not burning fat. You're gaining fat usually. That is how I got to over 320 pounds by following the standard American diet, and just constantly being hungry, constantly eating. Here, let me show you this. This is also from that Keto Mojo website. This little graph on the left. If you eat 3 meals a day, this is your blood sugar going up and down, up and down, up and down all day long. Imagine for those people, and I watched my mom do this. She was type 2 diabetic. She would have breakfast, a snack, lunch, a snack, dinner, a snack. So that was 6 times a day. Diabetic, and her blood's going up like, there's 6 of these mountains of insulin spike going up. So that's not good. When you restrict those carbs, this is more what it looks like on the right, the ketogenic diet. You've got, of course, when you eat something. I wore a CGM for 2 weeks last month, and so I know this to be true. Every time you eat something, you get this little bump, like just not a spike like this one on the left, but just a little bump. And then when you eat again, you get another little bump. And so your blood sugar stays fairly stable throughout the day, and that's what we want. And then the blue line above the bumps are that's your ketones. So restriction of carbs causes ketones to come into the picture. And if you do this long enough, then your body will gradually switch to burning the ketones instead of the glucose, because it doesn't have any anymore. You're not feeding it the carbs to burn. So that is, that's kind of a basic picture of what that looks like. So you can read more about that in the links below. So what happens though is, and I did this a lot. I would always be surprised at, well, I've been doing keto for a while, and it's hard for me to get into ketosis. It's challenging. I don't think I'm fat adapted. I get that a lot from people. And for me, what it was is just not letting go quite of all the things that do increase my blood glucose and that do inhibit the production of ketones. And so, if you're someone, and I did have a person like this who was contacting me. They would stay keto all week long, and then on the weekends they had their cheat days. The weekend was a cheat weekend, and you know, they might even by the Friday, if they stayed keto from Monday to Friday, they would start to show ketones, and then by Sunday night that's gone and they're starting all over again. It's really hard to explain that to people and to understand that. So I'm hoping that that little graph helped understand that a little bit, because you can do that. You can say, well, yeah, I've been keto for 6 months, and even doing that, like staying keto all week or carnivore all week, and then on the weekend cheating, you might even lose some weight, right? Like maybe those 5 days of being good, and only 2 days of being naughty was an improvement over what you were doing before, and you may have lost some weight, but you're not going to be fat adapted, because your body, when you do those little cheats and things, or big cheats, your body is confused, and it's going, well, am I burning glucose or am I burning fat now? Oh, here comes glucose. I gotta go work on that. And then you have a few days of just fat coming in and no carbs. And it's, you start to, your body is like, okay, maybe we're good now. Nope, here comes some more carbs. Got to burn those. And so it doesn't know what to do. And so it never gets into that metabolic state, or it doesn't get in there very, like, with power, like, you're not getting the fullest benefit. So, my best advice to people, if becoming fat adapted is something that you want because of those benefits that we looked at, better cognitive health, you're full between meals. I am so satisfied on 2 meals a day, whereas it was unthinkable of me to ever miss a meal because I never get that meal back. And so it's, that was how I thought back then, and how my body physically felt. Like I was always hungry. Now, I'm never hungry. If you find yourself having to remind yourself to eat, you're probably becoming fat adapted, or maybe you already are fat adapted. So, that's pretty good news. So, those are some of the things that I wanted to share with you on that. And I'm hoping that you guys have some questions for me on it. I'm not sure. Let me see if I covered all my notes here. Oh, so somebody once sent me an email. They wanted to know if they felt that if they were in ketosis, that meant that they were fat adapted. And that's not really true, because when you start a low carb diet or a keto diet, you can get into ketosis within about 3 or 4 days, even 5 days. So within a week, you can be making ketones, but it's the long-term use of the ketones coming in, the long-term absence of carbs, that then creates fat adaptation. Your body will become it'll expect the fat only and not the carbs, and that's what it's going to burn for fuel. It's not going to burn carbs because there aren't any, but that has to go on for a while, and not, weekend cheating and things like that. So I'm just being real with you guys. Like that's the mechanics of it, not judging, because I certainly, I've certainly gone through that myself. So, and there's a real benefit to this too. If you've ever heard the term metabolic flexibility. So say you've been, you've been keto or carnivore for a number of years, or months, even years. You haven't had any cheats, and you're fully fat adapted, and you have a bad day, or a bad meal, or whether you've chosen it or done something accidentally, picked up the wrong, like didn't look at the labels or whatever, your system should be metabolically flexible enough that even if that meal or that thing you had kicks you out of ketosis, you should be able to get right back into ketosis because you're fat adapted. If you're not fat adapted, it could take you longer. Like you might have to then start from square one and work for a few days to get into ketosis again. But if you have something, once you're fat adapted, if you have something, get kicked out of ketosis or your ketones drop drastically, it shouldn't take more than like a few hours to get that back again, provided you go right back to where, to what you were doing, right? It was just a one-off little thing. So metabolic flexibility is, something you can look forward to down the road, to protect yourself from these little things that happen in life. So I think, I hope that gives some of you hope, and it is not an excuse to cheat if you're fat adapted. Don't do that. Because if you do that enough times, you're going to lose that. That's how you lose it. So I'm going to flip over to the questions now. Let me see what we have here. And just looking over the comments. Hello, friends. There's so many of you here that I recognize and love that you are here. Let me go over to this part. Okay. Do you miss all the things? I actually don't, but don't forget I'm coming from carnivore and not standard American diet. I think standard American diet to lion diet would have been a real stretch for me. And so I have slowly gone through the ranks, just low carb. And then I did keto, and then carnivore. So sometimes I miss pork belly. The thing I miss the most is butter. I really miss butter. Probably when I'm done my, and I don't even know if I'm saying when I'm done. I don't know when that's going to be. I've committed to 30 days. I don't know if day 31 I'm going to add butter back in or if it'll be day 90. I honestly, at this point, don't know. But butter is the thing I miss the most. I miss it even more than coffee. And actually, I haven't even thought about coffee. I seem to be quite happy with the hot bone broth in the morning. It's just that holding, the mug, hot mug in the morning, as the, kind of a ritual. It's a ritualistic thing. And so I don't actually miss what was in the mug. I feel like I like the bone broth in the morning. I might start having it with a tablespoon of butter in it once I take butter back. Judy, happy Thanksgiving to all us Canadians. Yes, thank you for that, Judy. I meant to say that right out of the gate, and did I? No, I forgot. But yes, this is Thanksgiving weekend in Canada. Many people do have their big Thanksgiving celebration on the Sunday. And some have it on the Monday because tomorrow we have a stat holiday for Thanksgiving. And so I remember there was some years where I had to go to two, when there's different families holding different things and so on. So yes, exchange student, it is our Thanksgiving. Linda, what are your go-to meals? So I'm assuming you mean on Lion Diet. I would say the go-to meals, my favorite things are steak bites. Love those. And I also love just hamburgers. I do love them with butter. That's when I miss butter the most, is when I make burgers, because that was what I put on my burgers. So, but I still have them now. I just make sure I make them medium rare, and I know that grosses some people out, but it makes it edible for me because they're juicy and all that inside. So I feel like I have to do what I have to do. I have a big pot of stew, in the crock pot right now. So I like soups and stews that I make out of various meats. Tendon soup is something I also really like. it helps things go down easier. It's a lot of fat and a lot of beef for me, and I do have acid reflux problems. What I mean, I had severe problems that I was medicated for 15 years. Now I'm without the medication, but the problems still crop up just a little bit here and there. And with the extra fat I've been having over the last couple of weeks, starting to feel it again a little bit. But I find that with the soup, it's a little easier on my system, or the stew, or something like that. It's easier for me to do, and so I'm having a lot of that. Linda, 65 today. Time to get my life together. Well, first of all, happy birthday. Second of all, it is never too late. I didn't start until my mid 50s. I was obese, morbidly obese my entire life. And it's honestly never too late. I feel like if I can do it after all those years, and after being such a food addict, I feel like anybody can do it, and it requires persistence. And even on the days when I screwed up badly, I just picked myself up and went right back to it, because long term that worked. Like, just keep going at it and never give up. And you can do this. Glenda, I probably have insulin resistance because I have tried OMAD, which is 1 meal a day, and I stayed the same. Then I tried smaller portions. That didn't help. What can I try? Well, it might not be the size of your portions, or the 1 meal a day. 1 meal a day is, I feel like that's a stretch for most women. I'm not going to say all, because some women do 1 meal a day and they can eat enough that they are not chronically under eating. If you're chronically under eating, the weight will just stay on. And I don't know how old you are. This is very true for people my age with insulin resistance. Chronically under eating does not help the case. And so it doesn't, BBBE won't make a difference there, unless you know what you should be having, and getting those hit your target protein level. So I recommend that, like, if you have tried all kinds of different things and nothing seems to be working, and you truly are totally restricting those carbs, recommend figuring out your TDEE level, just so you have a baseline. I would track for a week and see, okay, like, don't try to hit any macros while you're tracking. Just eat what you normally eat. Do it for a week, and then compare what your daily results are against what the TDEE is suggesting. And that might give you some important clues as to what could be going on. So yeah, and so, like I was saying with OMAD, like, I usually try to hit 120 to 150 grams of protein a day. I just can't do it in 1 meal. I can do it in 2 meals, but I can't do it in 1 meal. It's just physically it feels physically impossible for me to eat that much meat at once. So I hope that helps. Can NAFL be healed if you're not fat adapted? I'm sorry, I don't know what NAFL is. So maybe you could, or somebody could pop that up on the screen for me if you know what it is, or could you explain? It's probably something I should know, but it's just not popping into my brain here. So we'll hopefully be able to circle back to your question. Debbie. Oh, non-alcoholic fatty liver. Thank you, Bonnie. I should have known that. I did know that, but I forgot. I'm sorry. Okay, let's go back to this one then. I think it'll be easier to heal if you restrict those carbs, because non-alcoholic fatty liver is a disease of the standard American diet. Kids are getting it now, young people. So I think that getting serious about getting the carbs out and going through a period of time where you are making ketones, burning ketones for fuel, burning your fat. I think that you will find that your non-alcoholic fatty liver will, slowly heal. There's some really good videos out there. I know all the doctors that are on YouTube that are in this community have probably got at least one video about NAFL. So I make it easier on yourself and become fat adapted for sure. Debbie says, "Wow, you have explained a lot of questions I had. Thank you. That was my goal. Was to just try to explain it in a simple term, because I've seen lots of scientific videos on it, and they kind of go over my head. So I figure, if I can explain it so that I understand it, that hopefully other people understand it." And another Debbie. Debbie Freeman. "Hello, everybody. Need advice? I have done well for 2 years, but recently having blood pressure spikes." Have you seen your doctor about that? I don't have, like, I'm not a doctor or a nurse or, anything to do with the healthcare industry. Just kind of sharing my experience. Your blood pressure should be well if you're doing well with the food. So there could be something else going on, and I feel like this is something that you should mention to your primary caregiver. And I mean, yeah, it's hard to know what that would be caused by for you, not knowing anything else. Okay, Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. So you're saying that weight loss is possible without necessarily being in ketosis? Oh, definitely. Yes. Obviously, being fat adapted is ideal, 100%. It's easier to do if you're fat adapted. Some people come into the keto world, and I've seen them do it in carnivore as well, and they're losing weight because they're restricting calories. 1,200 calories of carnivore is not a pleasant thing for me, but I have seen other people do it and lose weight. That is not sustainable. They may or may not be in ketosis. Now, I have had periods of time where I have lost, weight without being in ketosis. It is so much easier when you have some ketones. Now, we're not talking like, okay, so there's the whole thing where people are going very high ketosis, low blood glucose to have a low GKI number or a low Dr. Boz ratio, so that they can heal something. Like Dr. Boz helped her mother through cancer by doing that very thing. Very high ketones, very low blood glucose, low Dr. Boz ratio number, and her mom was healed from cancer with that. That is not what we're talking about here, although that does happen, and there are doctors out there who know about that, and there's videos out there as well, and research and whatnot. I'm just talking about I'm in ketosis, like in the morning. I'm anywhere from 0.5 ketones, which is not some huge number. Right now on Lion Diet, I'm averaging about a 1.0, 1.1 fasting ketones in the morning. So higher. And I think it's because on Lion, I am eating more fat. So eating higher fat and getting those ketones up is really beneficial for your brain. So anyone who's worried about cognitive decline, dementia, Alzheimer's, those sorts of things, this is a really good thing for your brain to be working on ketones. But if you're just looking for weight loss, there's so many things that weight loss. I mean, there's so many things that you can do, like just being, yeah, like I said, just being in a calorie deficit without much in the way of ketones or any ketones at all, weight loss is absolutely possible. It's just not ideal or sustainable. So I think being your last sentence there, being fat adapted, is definitely ideal. Elizabeth, what are your plans for Thanksgiving? I am making a big old brisket. It's going to cook for hours tomorrow. It's going to have a au jus. I'm going to make like just use the pan juices to make, like, cook it down, reduce it, and then if you want to see how to do that, you got to go to Chef Patty's channel, the Carnivore Hippie. She makes a brisket on her channel, and at the end of that video, she does the au jus, and I've started doing it the way she does it, and boy, is it good. Oh, it's better than gravy. So yeah, go look up Carnivore Hippie, look for her brisket video, make her au jus if anybody is looking for a tasty way to make gravy and you're on lion diet and they're only doing, beef water salt, or ruminants water salt, I should say. Carmen. Hi, Carmen. Since I seem to go in and out of ketosis without eating carbs, am I fat adapted? I haven't eaten bad carbs in years, only the carbs that are in eggs when I'm eating those. Okay, so animal carbs. Okay, so yeah, I should clarify. I mean, our ketones are going to go up and down. And so out of ketosis, I would imagine, are you talking about zero? Like, I don't know how often you check your ketones. But even, like, I think Dr. Boss says, even if you're like just barely registering like 0.3 or something, you're making ketones. And if I hope you're not measuring with the pee sticks, because for people who have been who have been burning ketone, like using ketones for a long time, like you have, that's not even going to register on a pee stick, because your body's using that. It's not spilling out into your urine and making the sticks go purple. So maybe, yeah, maybe you can let me know. I mean, you're in my group. You can let me know what kind of numbers are we talking about, and how do you measure, and how often, to see what the case is for you, where you stand on that. But yeah, like we do go in and out of ketosis. A little bit. Like I'm talking about periods of time. So I mean, if you just naturally go out of ketosis for some other reason, stress or exercise or whatever it is, that's not the same as, if you eat a bag of cookies or whatever. Christy, I have been strict carnivore for 17 months. I started this way of living to gain weight and have always had a flat stomach. Recently, I've gained a lot of fat around my midsection. Any thought? Well, I don't, I've never had that problem where I've tried to gain weight. So you want to gain weight, but perhaps you're not wanting to gain fat. And, we can't always control where our fat goes if we're eating, to gain weight. So, I mean, I would ask if you've ever heard of Dr. Sean O'Mara and his visceral fat videos, where he talks about sprinting. And it doesn't actually, it probably doesn't have to be only sprinting, because I can't sprint because of my knee. But it's short bursts of intense activity. It's supposed to be really good for reducing the fat around your belly. And so exercise for you is going to play an extremely important part of this. And that would include some of that short burst of intense activity exercise that he recommends for that. So that's about all I've got on, gaining weight as a carnivore. Like, I don't know how much fat, how many grams of fat you're eating a day. But if it seems to be settling in around your waist area, and you don't want that, I would look into Dr. Sean O'Mara and read about his advice for that. Thanks for the question, though. Oh, you guys are giving me challenging questions tonight. Wendy's Garden. Admire you who can stick with lion. After 3 weeks, I couldn't choke down 600 calories of beef. Have to have a variety of meats to come close to TDEE. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with eating 600 calories of beef. I could probably eat more in a sitting. And you know, it certainly depends on what it is. I cannot, and I think this is why I like stews and soups and super fatty meats, because they are easy for me to get down. Lean meat, 600 calories of lean meat, not a chance. Not a chance that's going down. I need to add butter to it or a sauce or something, and that's not an option on Lion. So, maybe it's a matter of changing up the type of meat. I know that that's what works for me is having the juicy meats that go down easy. I can do it. It tastes good, and I love it. So. But, there's certainly nothing wrong with carnivore. Carnivore is fantastic. There's nothing wrong with keto. Keto is fantastic. I mean, the reason that I am doing this, Lion, is because I wanted to see what else I could heal. Probably in the last year or so, I've had some things crop up, my skin rash on in my nose, like rosacea. I have rosacea, and certain things flare it up. So that's something I'm looking at. So my skin, and also acid reflux, and these little things that still niggle at me. Reducing inflammation is extremely important to me because of my knee. I canceled my knee surgery, as many of you know who have been following me. I'm not going to have it. I felt that I had enough improvement after a year of eating just an ungodly amount of sardines. It has greatly improved. Now, I actually, I said at the beginning of my Lion diet journey here on October 1st that if my knee started to hurt, I didn't care about the label. I honestly do not care about the label. Is not the priority for me. My health is my priority. And how I feel takes priority over any label. So as you know, Lion Diet is ruminants, water, salt. But I said on October 1st, if my knee starts to hurt, I'm opening a can of sardines. Hell with the label, and I'll go right back to beef at the next meal, or lamb, or whatever. But I'm going to take care of my knee. I've been amazed that so far, now I've been really going for the high omega-3 meats, and that would be lamb. It has higher omega-3, especially grass-fed lamb. The other thing that I found out the other day when I was working on a recipe is that bone marrow is really high in omega-3, or collagen, not omega-3s. It's really high in collagen, which also helps my knee, but it also has glucosamine in it, which also helps my knee. I mean, people buy glucosamine in supplements that cost a small fortune. You can get it in bone marrow. And so I made beef shanks. I'm going to make the bone marrow stew, that sort of thing. It's like there are ways to get these extra things in your diet, even on Lion Diet, to help reduce the inflammation. And so that's my number one goal is, just seeing how far I could push the reduction of inflammation. And so that's why I'm doing it. So unless you have some kind of a reason for doing Lion Diet, most people don't have to do it. Michaela Peterson did it to cure her arthritis, her rheumatoid arthritis. I mean, people have various reasons for doing it. So if you don't have a good one, you probably will tap out on it. I miss my eggs. I miss my butter, but I really want to see what 30 days would do. My brain is so curious about what would 30 days do. It's probably going to start getting curious as to what will 60 days do, what will 90 days do. And so, that's where I am right now. So that's why I'm doubling down on it. Patty, are you satisfied with the amount of omega-3 you're getting from the lamb, or are you thinking of adding sardines back in? Yeah, well, great timely question. That's what I was just talking about. I am satisfied at this point, but I will still say that if somewhere in the next couple of weeks, I start getting that ache back, or any type of joint, pain. I don't really seem to have any joint pain anywhere else. It's just in my knee. Um, I'm not against adding a can of sardines in. It's not about being the lion. I'm not trying to be the lion. I'm trying to do this for reducing inflammation. And if it doesn't reduce the inflammation enough, I'll add in the sardines. So, yeah, heck with the label. Jules Bug, I can't figure out why to eat high fat when I have fat on my body. Well, if you are fat adapted, you will burn the fat on your body as well as fat that you intake. I mean, it's just the way it works. If you go low fat carnivore or low fat keto, you probably won't have the results that you're looking for. It's one of the things that I did about a year ago. Time flies. Probably more than like almost 2 years ago. I did 90 days of high fat, and during that time, the goal was for me to become fat adapted. Like, it was to increase my ketones. It was for healing the way my body was working. And I did not lose weight during that 90 days. I did not gain any weight. I stayed exactly the same, and I was eating about 2,000 calories a day, 85% or more of fat every day. Afterwards, the month after I did that and just went back to regular carnivore, I immediately lost 5 pounds that first month. And then after that, I lost, a little bit each and every month. And I mean, I feel I've been fat adapted for at least 2 years now. The benefits of being fat adapted are many. So, no one's asking anybody to eat, maximum fat for forever, but sometimes it helps, especially in the beginning, for people who are just starting carnivore or starting keto. Embrace the fat, get fat adapted, and your life will be easier. Anne Ritchie, I noticed I was in a stall and feeling fatigued. I had, without realizing, cut my fat by 60%. Wow, that's a lot. How much fat and what form do you eat per day? So right now, being on Lion, I'm eating probably 70 to 75 to 80% fat in a day. So I'm not tracking very diligently, though. I'm just going kind of by the visual of what I'm eating. I mean, I'm buying the fattiest meats well, actually, I have a lot in my freezer too. I'm trying to shop from my freezer, but like, we're talking oxtails, beef shanks, ribs, ribs with tons of fat. Those sirloin cap steaks with the big huge fat cap. I mean, I am eating the fatty meat. The other thing that has helped me, because I missed my butter so much, I used to increase my fat by adding butter to things. I made those, I don't know if you guys saw them on YouTube a couple of days ago, but I made those crunchy tallow bars. Man, are those ever good. If you add even more tallow than what I added, you can make them super fatty and they still taste really good. Put some chunky salt on top, the crispy meat. It tastes like a real treat, and it's adding just a ton of good fat to my meal. So sometimes after a meal, I keep them in the freezer. I'll just break a piece off and have that, and it's a good amount of fat. So I think, yeah, I'm like 75 to 80% fat. I am determined. I know I was good in the first few days, and then I kind of fell off, but I am determined. I'm gonna, tomorrow's Monday. I'll start tomorrow, and I'll track. I'll track for a week just so I can quantify it for everybody, and also for my little report that I want to do at the end of the month with, showing my what's happening on my results. I would like to show, I would like to know and be able to sort of quantify the calories and the fat and all that stuff that I'm having online, because I think it is a little bit. I think for somehow I've gone a little more high fat doing this lion diet than I was on regular carnivore. It just seems to have happened naturally. Kathy, do you take iodine drops? I used to. I stopped taking them because I talked to two people. One was Indigo Neely. She made a video about it. And another one was somebody else. But, I don't want to mention names or anything. But I've talked to other people that had some issues that needed medical intervention from their doctors because of taking too many iodine drops. So I feel like anything else, it should be something that you test for before you just randomly take it. So I didn't get tested. I just randomly took it, and I was only doing 4 drops a day. So I feel like I probably didn't cause any harm. I know that there's a doctor out there who says take 10, take 20, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm just so uncomfortable with going that high without knowing for sure whether you actually need it or not. I mean, so go to the doctor and get a test to find out if you actually need it or not. What I have done though now in order to facilitate getting iron in naturally rather than taking the drops is I bought a salt on Amazon. This was recommended to me by our moderators Bonnie and Melissa. It's a Greek salt that contains iodine in it, and I cut it half and half with my Redmond salt, so that because I love the taste of Redmond's. I love everything about the Redmond salt. So I have a jar, and I put half this Greek sea salt, I think it is, and half the Redmond's in it. Mix it up, and it still tastes like Redmond salt, but I'm getting some iodine. I I'm just not comfortable. I'm not comfortable doing that without actually knowing. The only supplement I take at this point in my life is I'm taking the vitamin D3 / K2, I think it is, in a MCT. It's in a liquid. I'm taking that, and that one my doctor actually said after my last blood test, your vitamin D is too low. You need to take vitamin D, and so I'm taking it on the advice of my doctor. The other thing I'm taking is, and I'm not even doing this every day during Lion. It's been weird, because I was a daily element user, but I'm taking the raw unflavored element, which contains, the sodium, potassium, magnesium. So I do those two things. There's no other supplements that I take at all. Linda, Anita, you're aging backwards. You look healthier and thinner every week. Well, thank you. I like to hear that. That's, yeah, thank you so much. Hi, Sam. Good morning from Chile, Japan. Wow, all the way from Japan. Welcome. I don't know. I'm sure I didn't pronounce your name right, but welcome. So we have. Where did this hour go? We only have 10 minutes left. Now that is all of the questions that I see in here. I'm going to go over to the live chat and say hi to some of you guys, and I will also keep an eye out for more questions that come in. So let me see who we've got here. Hello, Ron at Ron's Keto Cafe. That's so nice that you're here. Hi, Yvonne. Danny, my friend Danny is here. Who else have we got here? Wow, we're getting people from all over. We have PML from Germany. Uh, what else? Who else have we got? We've got Pamela from Iowa. Welcome. Um, Thank you, PML. That just, makes my day. Let me see. Oh, let's see what Yvonne. Hi, Yvonne. I'm going to read your thing here. Yvonne says, I knew I was fat adapted when I went all day running errands and not needing to eat. That is a clear sign. If you forget to eat, like imagine, I can't imagine, 10, 20 years ago, forgetting to eat. That just never happened. Even though I stopped at gas stations to grab something to drink, now I can fast the easiest when I'm super busy. That Yvonne is doing amazing online diet. She's been doing it with me, posting her food every day. It's amazing to have this kind of support, not only here, but in my group. Here's I don't think I got this question. How is your energy level on the Lion diet? Notice any changes? Thanks for that question, Judy. So my energy level the first few days, I will admit, was not great. Don't forget, I also quit coffee. So I had the week before Lion Diet started, I switched to decaf. So I was still getting, a little hit of caffeine in there. And then on October 1st, I cut that out too. So I those first few days, I was a little flaggy, I had, it just wasn't perfect. But I made it through, and now it's a complete turnaround. Now I feel like I'm back to, I feel like my old normal self again. I feel like I can, do things. It's great. I definitely have my energy back. PML has been on carnivore for 13 months. Tomorrow we'll start protein sparing modified fast 3 days a week. Well, good for you. Now, can I just offer you some advice on that? Don't do them 3 days in a row. Please don't do them 3 days in a row. It will be such a shock to your system. You want to refeed with some fat in between, because boy, is it hard to only have 30 grams of fat in a day. I can't, I just can't even go there sometimes. Okay, what else have we got here? Oh, we have a couple more questions in the question area. Anna, how do I know if I am in ketosis? I assume after 4 weeks with 0 carbs, I must be right. Yeah, if you've had no carbs in 4 weeks, you probably are making ketones. You're probably in ketosis. You're probably on your way to becoming fat adapted. So the same list applies. You're gonna feel more mental clarity, reduced hunger and cravings. Like you shouldn't be as hungry between meals as you were, maybe before you started. If you don't have a way of measuring your ketones, well, you don't really know for sure if you have them, but you probably do. Chances are you do. You just can't prove it. Better sleep. I forgot to mention better sleep before. Mental clarity. Those are all things that happen when you're in ketosis, and they continue to happen and improve when you become fat adapted. So there's no way to know for sure without, if you're not measuring or, using a monitor or the pee sticks or whatever. So does burning ketones equal burning fat? I feel like that's a scientific question that I don't, it's a mechanism of your body that switches to burning the ketones for fuel. And part of that is also burning fat. Now, there are the people that are concerned about, well, if you eat too much dietary fat, you're going to go through all the fat that you just ate instead of the fat on your body. But apparently it's a mix. So you're burning both the fat on your body and both the fat you've eaten. rather than storing it. So, and the more fat adapted you become, the better and more efficiently that works. So yeah, so I guess just the thing is that on day 4, say, of being in ketosis, you're making ketones, but you may not be burning fat yet. Like it's a kind of it's a process. Let me read this sentence again. It is the long-term metabolic adjustment to being in ketosis, and that's when you really start burning the fat. But you will burn some. Okay, we're coming down to just a few minutes here. Let me see if there's anything else I can answer quickly here. Any thoughts on eating raw eggs in a fat latte? I used to like grass-fed butter and equip protein in iced coffee and really like it with egg or egg yolk. I don't see a problem with having eggs or egg yolks in your latte. Go for it. And then what are some tips to become fat adapted? So no carbs, like just reduce them to as low as you can go. Those of us who are doing carnivore, the only carbs we get are animal carbs. If you're doing keto or somewhere in between keto and carnivore, then just, make sure you're getting less than 20 total carbs per day. Net carbs is not going to help you in this. Total carbs. So go as low as you can. That is the number one thing that will lead you to become fat adapted. If you can add in some exercise, that is another thing that helps you become fat adapted. I don't know why, it just does. And eating more fat. Eating, making sure you're getting a good 65, if you're keto, 65, 70% fat. Make sure that you are not afraid of the fat and backing away from the fat and just trying to eat all protein and vegetables. Like you gotta embrace the fat to become fat adapted. So where are we? Okay, we've got 4 minutes left. I'm gonna go back to the other chat there. I probably have time to do one more question, or maybe 2. Okay, who else have we got here? And hello everybody. Wow, there's so many people here. I love that you guys are all here. Thank you so much. Yvonne says, I really like line, but I miss eggs and keto chow. But you feel great online. So yeah, that's the thing, right? Okay. All right. I think we might be okay. I think that's it for questions. So I guess unless there's another question that comes in right this very second, I think I'm going to wrap it up. But I do want to thank you guys for coming tonight. For you Canadians here, if you had your Thanksgiving today, I hope it was good. I hope you did your best. If you're fat adapted, just get right back on. You'll be fine. Like don't beat yourself up. Just keep going. That is probably, one of the secrets. The secret sauce is that you want to just keep going all the time. Don't ever give up. Even if you gave in, don't give up. There is no bigger secret than that. Because if you never give up, eventually you'll get there. You will get there. I promise you. So just keep coming and coming here, asking the questions, and hang in there and have a great weekend. For those of you that are having your Thanksgiving tomorrow, have a good one, and make it all about your family and the people you're with rather than the food, and you'll do fine. So see you guys next time. Again, thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye, everybody.